So preppers often cite historical examples to justify their faith in gold and silver. They point to events like the 2008 financial crisis as evidence that people will always revert to precious metals when currencies fail. Even though it's true that gold has historically retained its value during times of inflation or currency devaluation, these examples usually take place in situations where some degree of economic infrastructure still exists. In other words, people were still engaging in commerce, banks were still functioning to some extent, and there was still a market for luxury and status, two things that gold often represents. However, a complete societal collapse, a breakdown of law, government, supply chains, and communications is a radically different context, my friends. In this environment, survival is paramount. Food, water, medicine, fuel, ammunition become the new standard of value. Gold and silver, which cannot feed, hydrate, heal, transport, or protect you, quickly fall to the bottom of the priority list. Most people confuse currency collapse with societal collapse. In a currency collapse, of course, precious metals can play a significant role. But in a societal collapse, precious metals won't matter that much. Please allow me to explain. In any barter economy, value is determined by need. When modern society breaks down, people's priorities shift dramatically. Survival takes precedence over wealth preservation. The person with a gallon of clean water or a can of gasoline will have far more negotiating power than someone with a gold coin. One cannot purify water with gold. It cannot keep your baby warm, nor fix a broken generator. In the absence of functioning institutions, goods with direct survival utility like antibiotics, multivitamins, feminine hygiene products, or even cigarettes become currencies. This is not just theoretical. A lot of real-world examples challenge the notion that precious metals hold utility in crisis. During the Balkan Wars in the 1990s, for instance, cigarettes, canned food, and alcohol were far more useful than gold. In Venezuela's recent economic collapse, people bartered with soap, rice, or toilet paper, items that fulfill immediate human needs. Even in prisons where microeconomies develop organically, commodities like ramen noodles or stamps are more valuable than precious metals. The lesson is consistent. In desperate times, value follows utility, not shiny objects. Even if someone managed to, let's say, convince others that gold or silver should be accepted as payment, there are substantial logistical challenges. First, there's the issue of verification. In a world without banks, jewelers, or testing equipment, how can one be sure a coin or a bar is authentic? Counterfeiting will become prevalent. Fake precious metals are already a problem in today's market, even with advanced detection tools. In a collapse with trust in short supply, few would risk accepting a shiny metal unless they had the means to test it. Second, there's the problem of divisibility. A 1-ounce gold coin is worth over $2,000 in today's market. In a barter economy, that's the equivalent of trading a brick of gold for a loaf of bread, a massive overpayment. Silver coins are more divisible but still problematic. The lack of standardized exchange rates in a post-collapse world means haggling over every transaction. This leads to disputes, violence, and wasted time, none of which are in short supply during a crisis. Simply put, using precious metals as a medium of exchange introduces friction that undermines their supposed usefulness. At the heart of the prepper belief in precious metals lies a deep misunderstanding of human psychology during crisis. I don't know why, but preppers tend to believe that people will remain rational, that they will recognize intrinsic value in metals, and that they will respect private property. But history shows otherwise. During full-scale societal breakdowns, lawlessness prevails. Trust is no longer there. Violence increases. People become desperate and often behave unpredictably. A person carrying visible gold becomes a target, not a respected trader. In such scenarios, there's no law to enforce contracts, no police to arbitrate disputes, and no institutional memory to track transactions. Every trade becomes a risk assessment. Trading a silver coin for antibiotics only works if the other party believes that they can use that silver in turn. But what happens when no one else wants it? The perceived value of precious metals is not universal. It depends on cultural, social, and economic systems, all of which collapse along with society itself. So then you ask, if precious metals are unlikely to hold significant utility in a collapse, what should preppers prioritize? The answer lies in tangible, practical assets and skills. Food, water purification tools, medical supplies, clothing, fuel, and reliable tools are far more valuable. Knowledge, how to purify water, grow food, treat injuries, build shelter, or repair equipment, is arguably the most valuable currency in a post-collapsed world. Community is another overlooked asset. A lone prepper with a chest of silver coins will fare far worse than a small, well-organized group with shared responsibilities, defensive capabilities. In the long run, social cohesion, mutual trust, and practical skill sets will determine who thrives and who perishes. When you think critically about this topic for a long time, you would realize that the belief that precious metals will become a dominant form of currency in a societal collapse is an alluring fantasy, one that offers a sense of control and security in a world gone mad. But this fantasy does not align with historical evidence, economic logic, or human psychology under extreme stress. In a world where survival trumps status and necessity defines value, gold and silver quickly lose their luster. True preparedness is not about wealth preservation. It's about resilience, adaptability, and understanding what really matters when everything else falls apart. So then why do preppers on YouTube push precious metals? You've seen it. The warnings about economic collapse, hyperinflation, civil unrest, and right when the fear is at its peak, there it is, a link to a trusted bullion dealer. Use their code and get a free coin, and they get a nice commission for your panic purchase. This is not education. It's marketing wrapped in camouflage. Because here's the truth. In an actual crisis, no one is trading penicillin for a silver bar. Your water filter, your food supply, your first aid kit, those are your real assets. Gold and silver might come into play later when the dust settles and trade normalizes. But early on, practicality beats precious metals every single time. So yes, diversify if you've got the basics covered. Is someone selling you fear and precious metals in the same breath? Chances are they are more into sales and profits than prepping and survival. Alright folks, that's it for today. Remember, prepping is not about panic, it's about peace of mind. You don't need a vault full of silver, just a plan, some common sense, and maybe a few extra cans of beans. Like and subscribe for more real talks about prepping without the sales pitch. Prep like your future depends on it, because it kinda does. Faraway Prepper out.